Welcome to a new episode of Jump Scare Reviews, now with the camera no longer on a slant. Yeah, just noticed that about the tripod when we were setting up today. I was like, oh shoot, this thing's been at an angle for the past couple of... Yeah, had to get a new tripod. So, after the last few episodes in which we watched the Dunwich Horror, both versions of... Well, there's actually been multiple films made about it, but the one everyone knows from 1970... and then the, sci-fi made-for-TV asylum film version, which is one of the worst things I've ever witnessed on multiple levels. And if you know the films I've seen, that's saying something. So I was like, all right, I need to watch some good Lovecraft and some good Jeffrey Combs, which in all honesty are kind of the same thing. I don't know how that dude got saddled with being the Lovecraft guy. But yeah, I think this was probably it. I think that this film just made him break out. And then anytime there's been a Lovecraft adaptation, it's him. Because he did this, he did From Beyond, then there was a Lovecraft anthology film in the 90s in which he played Lovecraft, and then he did the Dunwich Horror that we talked about. But yeah, so after watching those two not great films, I decided I want to watch some good Lovecraft and some good Jeffrey Combs, and so I had to go back to Re-Animator, which is probably in my top 10 favorite horror films of all time. It's one of those ones where I get more of an appreciation for it each time that I've seen it, and I've seen it a couple of times now. What about you? How do you feel about this film?
If H.P. Lovecraft's name was not in the title, I would not have known it was one of his short stories.
It doesn't feel like it.
It really does feel like that really niche, dark horror comedy you'd expect from the 80s, like Return of the Living Dead.
Very much like Return of the Living Dead, yes. And I mentioned this when we talked about the Dunwich Horror. I've never read any Lovecraft stuff. I know I'm a big horror guy, but I just never have. It's one of those things where I am aware of who Lovecraft is, and everybody has told me, hey man, if you don't know anything about Lovecraft, you're fine. You'll never notice it. If you do know about Lovecraft, you will definitely pick up on what he believes about certain groups of people when you read those books. I'm like, yeah, I just don't want to do it. So this is one of those ones where, yeah, it does not have it doesn't check any of the boxes.
Right.
But again, I've never read the source material on this one.
So it could be a completely different...
Something tells me it's not nearly as funny, the version that he wrote. Because yes, this is a horror comedy, and it's one of those things where I wonder how much on paper this was a horror comedy, and how much of it became a horror comedy in the actual production process. Because Jeffrey Combs, as the titular Re-Animator, as Herbert West, man, you talk about a breakout performance. That is like Bruce Campbell as Ash from Evil Dead levels of nobody else could have done this. It's that guy. You can't cast anyone else in it. I have, you could do a reboot to Re-Animator, and you could get somebody else in there to play Herbert West, but they would have to do it completely different. Mm-hmm. They would have to make it their own thing because nobody could do this exact type of performance. Let's get into the actual premise of this film. Re-Animator, it is about this college in Arkham, Massachusetts. It's the same school that all Lovecraft stuff is set at, which is escaping me at the moment, which is poor timing on my part. And I'm fighting back a hiccup. But there is this med student, Dan Kane, and this thing opens up with him trying to save somebody's life, and he can't, but everything else in his life going pretty well. He's got a girlfriend, Megan, who's played by Barbara Crampton at peak Barbara Cramptonism. This Barbara Crampton is great in this film, by the way. Barbara Crampton is great in pretty much everything. She's one of those, she's one of the most unproblematic faves, I guess is the best way to put it. It's I can't think of anything really negative to ever say about Barbara Crampton. She's all around just pretty cool.
And then, you go online, it's shit.
I follow her around, and I've never seen her, promoting AI or NFTs or shit. She seems pretty chill. But yeah, Barbara Crampton plays his girlfriend Megan, and they're getting pretty close. And Dan has a professor, Dr. Carl Hill, and I'm checking all the names over there on the side. And Carl Hill little bit of an egomaniac, got a little bit of a bravado to him, a little bit of a puffed up image in his head. But he is definitely that professor who enjoys being a professor. He enjoys having the class hang on his every word. And he is teaching him about biology and teaching him about like autopsies and stuff. He's, bringing in the bodies to dissect in there. But then Dan needs a roommate. And who should show up for that roommate position other than... I'm sorry, I completely forgot his name right now. Herbert West. Thank you, Jesus. I was going to, my mind was like, Jeffrey Combs. Wait, no, not the actor's name. The Re-Animator. Wait, no, that's the title of the thing. Why am I blanking on this? It's been a minute since we had to record anything. So, least professional review show on the internet. So, Herbert West shows up. Herbert West we got introduced to at the very beginning. He's in the opening shot in which it's over in Europe. There's a college, and... we see people trying to break into this room where Herbert West is with a body that is just like it's a zombie that is like just collapsing. And the opening of this film is them saying, "You killed him," and he just says, "No, I gave him life," which that tells you everything that you need to know about Herbert West right then. But Herbert West shows up and he is now continuing his studies at Miskatonic University. I think that's what it's called. So he's continuing his studies there. And again, every single frame of Jeffrey Combs on screen as Herbert West is 100% what the character should be.
Yeah.
Just the way he walks around, like surveying everything at every moment, the way in which he just doesn't take shit from anyone, and he definitely feels like he does not understand basic human emotions, but he still knows how to manipulate them. Like,
he's like the perfect blend of like awkward nerd and like mad genius.
He's Mandark.
Yes.
He's Mandark from Dexter's Lab, very much so. I have many times wondered if Mandark took any inspiration from Herbert West. There's a scene earlier on in which he is in Dr. Hill's class, and Dr. Hill is giving an explanation about how the brain dies after like 7 seconds or something like that. And Herbert West is just snapping pencils. In the middle of the class, he snaps the pencil and while just staring, not breaking eye contact, and then pulls out another pencil and just snaps it. He's that kind of a dick. He's the best way I can describe Herbert West. If he wasn't our protagonist, he'd be the villain. But
it's like, the thing is, like, when you first watch this movie, you think he is the villain.
He feels like it, doesn't he?
Very much so.
It's just that there's another guy in here who's worse.
Yes.
And it feels like there is an alternate reality out there where that guy, Dr. Hill, did exist, and this becomes just a movie about a mad scientist sociopathic monster. But Dr. Hill is there, so we have Herbert West to stop him. So Herbert West, he believes that the brain can survive longer than people think, and it is possible to bring people back from the dead. And so he has invented this little syringe of ecto-cooler. Well, it actually is. It's the stuff inside glow sticks is what it actually is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I found that out.
I was going to say, it looks more like Nickelodeon slime or something
I can see that, but yeah, it's actually the liquid inside glow sticks is what it was.
So that's the key to eternal life.
Yeah.
Just drink whatever's in the glow stick. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I have watched interviews with him where he tells everybody what it is, and he tells you, do not drink it. Stop it. Yes. So, he has invented this formula that he believes can bring people back from the dead. And as we saw in the very beginning of this movie, it didn't go well, but he's still tinkering with it. He still believes it can happen, which is one of the crazy things about this. He is so dead set that this thing works, and we never see it work fully. Important little asterisk up there. It never works as intended.
As intended, yes.
Because it does bring people technically back from the dead. But they ain't the same. And Herbert West, we mentioned he feels like he would be the villain if it weren't for the fact that he's our hero. And the perfect way to kind of encapsulate that, and perfect scene that really just sums up who this guy is and how he can just work in between the corners, like how he just like slides in between all the problems of reality, I guess. Like anything that could trip him up, he just slightly dances around that. And this is the scene that really sums up. Dan is making out with Megan, and then they notice that their cat is gone. And they start looking around for the cat, and then they notice that Herbert West's door is open. And they go in there, and they look at his little mini fridge, because they are college students. He's got to have a mini fridge. He opens it up. The cat is in there, and it's dead. And Herbert West then comes up, and his first words out of his mouth are, "Why are you in my room?" And it's like, I'm sorry, dude. That's not the big question, but he is so focused on himself. He is very much that mad scientist who thinks that he is the center of everything. So yeah, the fact that like he's got the dead cat in there, but his first words out of his mouth are, "Why are you in my room?" And then they are accusing him of the dead cat. And he says, "Yes, I found it dead in the street. It got hit by a car." And so, okay, is that a lie? What is that? And then they start saying, "Well, why didn't you say anything?" "What do you want me to do? Write a note? Cat dead, explain later." And it's that kind of like, he says things in a way that makes
it's like
you go...
so deadpan.
So deadpan, like, but also accusatory.
Yes.
This guy was found with the dead cat in his mini fridge, and yet the way that he just dances around that and turns it back on them makes you feel like, man, am I the asshole? Yeah, I mean, what was he gonna do? Like, well, how was he gonna explain that? Like, yeah, you can't really say that in a note, I guess. All right. But also, the fact that that's one of our first interactions with him, it makes you, the audience, go, okay, did you kill this cat or not? And we never get the answer to that. And I think that's great that we, the audience, have to wonder, okay, is this guy a cat killer? Because it is exactly who Herbert West's character is. Is he hero or is he villain? We don't know. And that's never gonna get explained.
I mean, he doesn't really kill anybody. He just, like, finds dead bodies and tries to bring them back to life.
And that's exactly what is so great about Herbert West's character, is that you just summed up right there. As I said, it's how he just, like, dances around. Like, hero or villains. Like, well, like, the fact that you had to actually say, well, technically he doesn't kill anyone. That's Herbert West.
Yes, exactly.
What's the evil thing he did? Well, he technically he didn't do this, but it feels like it. Yeah, that's who Herbert West is. That's also the thumbnail for the episode right there.
He's defying the laws of nature by bringing back the dead.
Yeah.
That's his...
That's his crime. It's like...
That's his crime.
Nothing in the rulebook that says that's actually a crime.
No.
Technically, that is not a crime.
If you take life, it's bad, but if you give back life...
we gotta be real with you. We never actually wrote anything down about this. Haven't had an impasse.
We found a loophole.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, and it's so brilliant how they write this guy, but also how they get you onto his side, and they do that largely through Dan. Dan, who, man, is just a big golden retriever of a human being. Because he comes in and he goes down to the basement at one point, which I love the fact that when Herbert West is moving in, he asks if they have a basement. And again, it's in that way that's like, I know what you're up to, motherfucker. So yeah, he asks if they have a basement, and he later goes down there, and Herbert West is being attacked by the cat that he has now brought back from the dead. But it is a puppet. It is a bad puppet, too. But the fact that it's a bad puppet kind of makes it great. That's kind of the perfect thing about this. I love how shitty of a puppet this is. And because it's such a bad puppet, you have no qualms with them slamming it around and throwing it everywhere, and then it like just being flung back in their face. It is hilarious. It reminds me of back when I used to watch Married with Children when I was a kid. They would love to do a bit where somebody's body would be thrown across a room.
And it's just a dummy.
The worst possible dummy that you could get. And I, even as a kid, I was like, I know that's a bad dummy, and I know that's what makes it funny. But yeah, so there's an extended sequence of that, but then he shows Dan, no, here, let me inject it again. There, it's come back to life. See, it's possible, it's real. And Dan's now just like, oh, shoot, yeah, like he's won over by this. And the thing is, as weird as you know Herbert West is, you can kind of fit in Dan's footsteps. Like, man, if I just watch somebody bring something dead back to life, I'd be amazed too. Mm-hmm. I have to admit. So Dan then like helps sneak him into the morgue at night so they can test it on a real human being. It does not go well. They tested on a body who actually was Arnold Schwarzenegger's stunt double in a lot of his films. And it comes to life and just starts beating the crap out of them. And they have to stop it. But then the dean comes in. And then the dean gets entangled in all of this in a way. And the dean, we should point out, is also Megan's father. So things start to go wrong there. But then eventually Dr. Hill finds out about this. And this, I feel almost like this is a spoiler to go ahead and get this far into it. However, if you will notice over there on the IMDb that I have brought up, Dr. Hill's actor, David Gale, who has an extensive acting career, his profile image on IMDb is him in Re-Animator as the villain. And you might be wondering, well, why is that so important to point out? Why are you saying that's a spoiler? It's because Dr. Hill finds out about this Re-Animating formula. And Dr. Hill says that he's going to steal it, he's going to make it his, and there's nothing that Herbert West can do about it. And while he is looking at this and thinking, I'm going to be famous. Yes, it's all going to be mine. Herbert West picks up a shovel and just smacks him across the head and then decapitates him. So we point out...
I mean, so I guess he does kill
somebody, but he's the villain. So again, it's like, I don't...
Self-defense?
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things which is like, as I said, man, if it were for the fact that you're doing this to the exact right person in this film to do it to, I would definitely be like, you're the villain, but
it's like, I only kill bad people. Like,
yeah. Bad people who are taking my things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's incredibly self-centered from the jump. But again, it's like, it's that shitty behavior of his that makes him so lovable because of how Jeffrey Combs pulls that off. Because of like how he delivers every line, just the exact way that he encapsulates this character. But so he decapitates him and then he gets an idea. And I love this scene because it's like the only moment you see possible genuine human emotion from I almost said Jeffrey Combs again, from Herbert West. There's a moment he's like sitting there just looking at the decapitated head on the table, the rest of the body on the floor, just looking at it, he goes, and like you actually see that moment of excitement of, oh my, yes, and I love that moment. It's the closest you see to him actually being like a person. Rather than, yeah. So he injects the head and the body with the formula and they come back to life. And I love that the actor playing Dr. Hill, he does this very like, yeah, how would you talk if your lungs were severed?
Yeah. And like your vocal cords are probably like shredded half.
Apart,
like.
yeah. So he comes back to life, but then the doctor's body also comes up and takes out and hits Jeffrey Combs in the back, knocks him out, and then when they wake up, his formula is gone, the head is gone, the body is gone, everything's gone. And again, it's one of those things where when he wakes up, his very first concern is the research. Not like, oh yeah, I killed a guy and he's walking around now. His very first concern is that research. It's all about him. So that's why I say it's so hilarious to me that this guy's IMDb page, the profile photo, is his decapitated head in the little tray. And from there, that's when things start to ramp up. Dr. Hill puts into place his whole plan to like raise an army of zombies on his own. And interesting fact, I never questioned how Hill is able to control the zombies when they come up. Like I was like, yeah, okay, it's it's how the movie works. That's fine, whatever. But apparently there was a plot line that they cut from this film, and there were scenes shot for it where Dr. Hill had psychic powers. There's like a moment early on in which you see him mentally controlling the dean and like hypnotizing him to go along and give him like grants and all this stuff. So that's how he's able to control all these bodies when he resurrects them later on in the film. I never questioned that, but it's interesting to think that like, oh wow, so that was a thing. And also interesting to think that okay, zombies are coming back because of this scientific formula thing. How are you psychic? That's just a thing that exists in this world now. All right, fine, whatever. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad they cut it because, like, if that little side plot probably would be like a bit convoluted.
It feels out of place.
Yeah,
it really feels out of place. And like I said, I didn't know that for years. And after until after I'd watched this film like 2 or 3 times, I never once questioned it. I never was like, yeah.
Then you like watch the commentary with the actors and everything, and it's like, oh, that's what happened. Interesting.
Yeah.
There's actually like a lot of like cut scenes in this movie.
There was a lot cut from this movie. It's interesting. So we won't talk about anything else until we get to like spoiler section, but I will just say, it is Jeffrey Combs' performance that really like carries a lot of this film, but also David Gale as Dr. Hill, also does a great job. I do think that Dan's actor and Megan's actor, Barbara Crampton, I am mixing up everybody's names on this episode. I am Louis. It's our first recording of the day, everybody. But Dan and Megan, I think their actors also do a great job, but they are definitely the straight characters in here. And when you've got a personality like these other 2 characters in here, it's kind of hard to like, you're here to keep the plot moving. And I will also say, I love that this is a film that just goes for it.
Yeah. It
feels like the only thing that was really off the table is they couldn't show penis, because then that got the film an X rating. Which when you see what they did fit in here is like...
Yeah, it's like, oh, so that's not allowed, but this is? Like...
And I watched this on the Blu-ray this time. Previously, I'd always seen it on like regular TV or on streaming services. I watched it on a Blu-ray this time. There's definitely penises in this film. It was just back in 1980s, the film would have been so blurry that you probably didn't make it out. But yeah, I do remember I was watching In Search of Darkness they were talking about and saying that the director had to constantly cut and go, "God, I can see penises." But I think it's crazy, like the levels of just everything that they go for. Like, this is a film that does not hold back. Levels of gore, levels of like raunchiness, we'll say that.
In fact, a lot of the cut scenes were a lot of like violence and raunchiness.
Which in all fairness, I think that it's good that they cut anything more.
Yeah.
Because it feels like, no, this was enough.
Yeah.
We hit our quota. We're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, and I'm bringing this up because I am not a gore hound. I'm not one of those guys who are like, man, I need my kills to be like this, and I need my horror films to be R-rated and gory. It's like, no, I'm not like that at all. Like, I do not like, like the torture porn films. They're not my favorite.
Yeah.
I prefer more like the psychological stuff. I prefer more of, stuff with like personality. I'll say that. Not saying that you can't do that with torture films out there. No, not at all. I'm just saying that's never the thing that wins me over. That to me doesn't matter in a film. And I will say in this, they go to hilarious limits with this.
Yes, it's like ridiculous how much blood there is.
If you are going to do, my rule is, if you are going to do it, get weird and imaginative with it. And you watch this film and you can picture them sitting around the writing room just going, okay, what about this? And like they just had like a big board, like cue cards up there, or like post-it notes of like, okay, try this, and like just trying to figure out the weirdest things they could do. Like, there's moments in which we see her, like, I mean, first off, our villain is a guy with no head carrying it around separately. Like, that already is like, okay, you have already gone further than most films would. But then, like, when they actually get to the morgue and actually see, like, the bodies coming back, I love that, like, it's not normal zombie, but it's also not, like, it's not, like, Night of the Living Dead. Return of the Living Dead. It's not like those where they're, like, differently colored and, like, it's just, torso crawling around with like a spine sticking out or anything like that. It's like, no, it's a fully formed body, but you can also, like, the actors look like their bodies are about to explode. And I think that makes these specific zombies unique. And I kind of like that. It gives them a little bit of, as I said earlier, personality.
Also, like, the bodies, like, died in different ways. and it shows.
They feel real because of that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, like they definitely got like actual amputees and stuff to come out, and they got like the bodies look like real people. So yeah, that adds like a weird sense of realism to a very out there film. So yeah, I think, as I had mentioned, the big draw of this is Herbert West by Jeffrey Combs. But I really did enjoy not just his unique personality, but the way that he worked off of everybody else. It's one of those things in which you do have to watch this and wonder how much of that was in the script and how much of it was established by Jeffrey Combs. Because, as we said, this movie is hilarious. It is so incredibly funny. But at the same time, I think I do have to wonder how much of that was in the initial. If I read this, okay, sorry. If I read this script, would I be laughing at the same way that I would be laughing at seeing the line reads? Or would I not even realize this is meant to be a comedy? Because, yeah, there's, I'd say, like 2 legitimately funny lines by themselves in here. But then after that, the absurdity, that's the word I've been looking for this entire time. The absurdity is what makes the rest of the humor in this. So yeah. Anything else that you want to say about this?
Not really. I think we can like give it our final grade and go into spoilers.
Yeah. I would give this an A+. Like I said, it's quite possibly in my top 10. I'm trying to think of anything that I have a problem with. Not really. It's just the only reason it's not S rank for me is that I know of other films that I like more than it, but it's, I'd still give this, and as I said, an A+. I really enjoy this.
I'd give it a solid A. There's like one scene I felt kind of uncomfortable with, but we'll talk about that in spoilers.
I know that scene. Understandable. And honestly, okay, I'll go ahead and say this about that scene before we like actually spoil what it is. I was definitely uncomfortable with it the first time that I saw it. Like, it has a very assault feel to it because it is. But watching it multiple times after that, I've become okay with that scene only because everything about this film is so absurd. And when it gets to a point in which everything is so absurd, it makes it so that my brain can detach from reality, which is interesting to say because we were pointing out that the zombies themselves almost kind of feel real. So I understand why those are like 2 negatives clashing against each other, but that's kind of what this film is. It is it's one of those just chaos storms that I don't think anybody else, any other group of people at any other point in time in history would have been able to make work. This is one of those things in which every single ingredient had to line up, and then you had to accidentally spill in their chemical X. And that's how everything...
Like lightning in a bottle, I guess you could say.
That's the word, yes. It's one of those things in which I'm like, you know what? I'm now okay with whatever this film throws at me because my brain has adjusted to how fucking weird it is. But I understand why other people would have a problem with it. So yeah. Oh, we should also say before we get to the spoiler part, the music in here, especially the intro theme, is just straight up like a funky disco version of Psycho's theme. And for years I was like, is nobody gonna point this out? But then I saw interviews with the guy who did the music, and he was like, yeah, of course that's the Psycho theme. I was specifically paying tribute to the Psycho theme. I was trying to do a remix of it. It is the Psycho theme, just with my own take on it. And I have always wondered, are you being serious about that? Or did you get caught and then you had to go, well, of course it's a Psycho theme.
It's like, I thought like it was like filler music until they like found like an original score.
Like they just put the Psycho music in there just to cover for time.
Yeah, like that's kind of like for Shrek All-Star, that was not originally in this.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like they were originally gonna have like a different song, but it's like, the All-Star fits perfectly. Let's just go with this.
It is the Shrek song. That's so weird.
It is literally the meme, the Shrek meme
national
song.
Anthem.
Exactly.
That is wild to think about.
I know, right?
Whoa. But yeah, no, it's not entirely the Psycho theme. It is different, so that's why I'm like, okay, it's not a filler. But I, for years, thought, it's like, dude, you just straight up copied that. And he's like, yeah, of course I just copied it. Like, I was doing that on purpose. And for years, I've just always wondered, like, were you really doing it on purpose? Or did you do it and then you got caught? So I've always wondered that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the spoiler section in here. Dr. Hill, he takes the formula, he goes and he's going to reanimate like a zombie army out of the morgue. And I love the guy who is the security guard at the morgue. Mm-hmm. He's just checked out at all times. He just doesn't care. He's not getting paid enough for this. He's reading his nudie magazines. That's all he cares about. But also, Dr. Hill has a thing for Barbara Crampton. Mm-hmm. Don't we all? But yeah, so he kidnaps Megan and takes her to the morgue and then has the body, his body, which I am now realizing how weird it is that I have to refer to him and his body as two separate characters.
Like his head and his body.
Yeah, those are two characters. They were listed in the credits as separate people. But he has it strip her down and the head is, and like you see everything, and the head is about to give her. Yeah,
head. Yeah.
That's the joke. Yeah, joke. But it's
a very messed up joke. But
you're not supposed to. I will say this. I say it's a joke because of head giving head.
Yeah,
you're supposed to think it's horrifying. Like that is supposed to be a genuinely uncomfortable. I feel bad watching this moment.
But like at the same time, it like fits with this movie because it's so absurd. It's like a decapitated man literally giving head.
It's one of those things where like if he was not decapitated, he was not a zombie, it was normal ass Dr. Hill and he just like started to actually like her.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say that word, but if he's just started to her there, that would be like, what the this is horrible. Stop all of this. Whose idea was this? This is totally uncalled for. But because they went to just this weird, fucked up place with it, you're just like, hold up. Let him cook. It's weird. It's to that level of absurdity. That's that word again. In which you're just like, all right, I'll keep watching this. I hope this doesn't awaken anything in me. I can honestly say, of all the weird stuff I'm into, that's not one of them. That's gotta be a thing. I'm just not realizing.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's gotta be a thing.
It's like there's like a kink and fetish for everything.
And I'm not shaming anybody. You be into what you're going to be into. It's just now occurring to me. It's like, oh my god, is there like actual like disembodied whatever?
Moving on.
Don't answer that in the comments. But yeah. And again, I love that Herbert West then busts in to save the day. Mm-hmm. And this just sums up Herbert West again. He's busting in to save the day. He's there to save his research.
Right.
He does not give a shit about Megan there at all. He even like shit talks her a little bit, which there's no reason to shit talk her at all. She didn't want him to move in. Good call. So yeah, he has been like against her and he has had a thing kind of like spiting Megan throughout the film because she didn't want him to move in. Like she was suspicious of him the entire time, which I understand. If you meet somebody and they're suspicious of you, you're not going to like them. But at the same time, she was right on every level to be suspicious of his ass.
She just had a gut feeling.
Yeah.
And
because of that, even in this moment where she is desperately in need of someone rescuing her, he's still like shit talking her the entire time. And he's just like, you get the feeling like if Dr. Hill had told him, all right, fine, you know what, take your research, just leave me with her, he would have taken the research and left.
Yes.
You get that feeling. Saving Megan is something that he will do if he has time and feels like it. He's just there for his notes. But then, like, the army of the dead arise in the morgue. He had already, like, given them all the juice. They all start attacking him. And it just becomes a slugfest in there.
Yeah, like, here's, like, the thing, like, about the formula. It's, like, the reason why it doesn't work so well is because it has to be on a freshly dead body for it to,
that's what he thinks, but we haven't even seen that work because the dean died earlier on. And, again, it's one of those things in which you look at him like, because yeah, you should not, the dean just died, you should not be using your formula on him. But he tells Dan, we need a fresh body. This is the freshest one we're going to get. And you're just like, oh, I hate that you're right. So yeah, they use the formula on the dean. Dean's still messed up. Dean is still it's still just like a mindless zombie. The only person it actually worked on was Dr. Hill.
Like, did he, like, adjust, like, the dosage or something like that?
I'm wondering if maybe, again, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this is one of those things in which you were never meant to ask these questions, but I'm wondering if it's because...
He's psychic?
Yeah. I'm wondering
that, too.
If in the original version of this script in which they did have the psychic... by the way, there's an ice cream truck outside. I don't know if you guys can even hear it or not. Just had to acknowledge it.
Just in case you did hear it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm wondering if in the original script when they did have the psychic subplot, if that actually did come up in the reason of like why he is able to keep control of his mind and body.
And I just figure like because like he's like a doctor and like a scholar and everything, like
maybe, yeah.
He's like more in control of his intelligence or something like that.
Exactly.
But like. Yeah, so, shit starts going on.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of naked zombie bodies, like, fighting Dan, fighting Herbert West, just everything's going to shit. But then Herbert West puts even a bigger dosage into the doctor's body, and you see his body. This is the one point in which it does get Lovecraftian. Mm-hmm. His body, now with way too much of the formula there, splits open, and now his organs like tentacles come out.
Yeah, like his intestines act like tentacles and just
Except
like
they're huge. They're like an actual like giant
like
octopus.
Mutated organs.
Yeah, they come out and start wrapping around him
wrapping around Herbert.
Wrapping around Herbert. And then as Herbert is being sucked into the body of Dr. Hill, he throws Dan his research because that's the thing he cares about the most, which, I mean, hey, dedication. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's Herbert West. He is only focused on his research to the point where he doesn't care if he lives or dies. This must live on. And then at the end of it, Megan ends up being killed by a zombie. Dan gets her back to the place where the film opened on him, trying to save someone who was dying in the hospital. Same bed and everything. He can't save her. And then he looks at the formula that he has. And that's where it ends. I will say, I don't think Megan actually comes back because I have not seen the other two Re-Animator films. There was Bride of Re-Animator, which I've never seen. And then I never saw Beyond Re-Animator, which, man, it all comes back to this, was a sci-fi original made-for-TV movie. However, I can't imagine them fucking that one up too much because it's still Jeffrey Combs playing Herbert West. So I do have, like, a morbid curiosity with seeing that one.
You think we'll see them for the jump scare reviews?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't plan on this thing ending anytime soon, so eventually it's kind of like on the other channel, when people ask me, are you going to one day do a retrospective on this series? And it's like, this is the thing I pay my rent with. I'm going to eventually get to everything.
It's like, eventually.
Yeah, I will eventually get to everything, and when I've gotten to everything, I will then circle it back around and start doing the original ones all over again. So yeah, that's Re-Animator, everybody. I freaking love this film. But man, it's a lot. It is a lot to take in. So anything else you want to say about it?
No, but it's like, once again, we think who the villain isn't really the villain, and the hero is actually someone else. Like Dan, he like ends up becoming like,
oh,
he becomes the new Re-Animator.
Yeah.
So,
which I do know that Dan returns for the next one. So it's kind of crazy to see that after everything that happened, Herbert West is still stringing Dan along. But yeah, so we will eventually get to that. But that's not the next film that we're going to be talking about. However, this is a theme month, everybody. I did not intend for this to be a theme month, but it's gonna be a theme month. Because I just randomly watched our next film, and then as I was watching, I realized, oh my god, there's a theme going on here. So this is going to be Mad Scientist May, everybody. I almost said March. It's, well, god damn it, that would have been better, because then March Madness. You know, it was in the basketball thing. Okay.
I know, I understand, but it's like, hi, Peach, hi. But I was gonna like,
I was here the whole time.
I was gonna like, Mad Dr. Mayhem or something
Oh, that's
like
not
that.
bad. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, we'll go with that then. Yeah, so it is Mad Dr. Mayhem. So all the films that we were watching, this guy, protect my crotch. Oh, no, didn't work.
Oh,
there we go.
Okay, there.
Okay.
Okay, easy does it.
So every film that we were watching in May is going to be about a mad scientist. So next week, we are going back to the original mad scientist, not in the way that you would expect. We're going to be talking about Frankenstein, but not the original Frankenstein. We're going to be watching Frankenstein 1970, which is not the year the film was made. It was made in 1958. It was called Frankenstein 1970. We're going to get into that clusterfuck next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.